Right, so today we are going to do 2, 3, 4, and this is the last lesson in chapter 2. Um, so we are going to talk about the distributive property. And this is a super important concept that you are going to see throughout the rest of your math career. So getting used to this and understanding it now is going to help you so much in the long run. So our first vocabulary word. The distributive property states that the multiplier of a sum or difference can be distributed to multiply each term. So that is going to be extremely important. We are multiplying when we distribute. For example, to multiply 8 times 24, we could rewrite that as 8 times 20 plus 4. Again, those easier numbers to work with. Then we can find the product of each one and saying, okay, 8 times 20 and 8 times 4, adding those up, and that gives us our answer, just like we do here with the generic rectangle. Okay, we did our 8 times 20 and our 8 times 4. We distributed the 8 to both parts, the 20 and the 4. Okay, so that is what you are going to do. So if I look at this guy right here, okay, 8 times 20 plus 4. In math, you're going to start just getting this. You're going to kind of slowly move away from the generic rectangle. The generic rectangle is just a visual representation of this. So you could actually see it. This is just going to be kind of, not a formula, but just a concept that you're going to kind of learn. So you're going to take your 8 and you're going to distribute it to your 20. And when you distribute, you multiply. Take your 8 and distribute it to your 4. That is a very common mistake that I see people make, is that they'll bring down their 8 times 20 and then they'll just put plus 4. No, you have to distribute it to all parts inside of the parentheses. So even if this was plus 20, plus 4, plus 2, you would have to do 8 times 20, 8 plus 4, or 8 times 4, 8 times 2. Okay, you have to distribute it to all parts. And the parts are broken up by either a plus or a minus sign. Okay, so then you would solve for these. 8 times 20, 160, plus 8 times 4 is 32. So this answer is 192. Okay, remember, these are called our partial products. So that's what we're going to do. I'm kind of get this out of the way. All right. So it says for 281, draw a generic rectangle for each of the products below. Then write an equation showing the expression with parentheses, multiplication, and addition is equal to the expression with only the addition for the one. So let me show you what they mean by that. So let's do A together. So we're going to draw out our generic rectangle. Okay, and we're going to label it. So I'm going to put 5 on this side because it's shorter. And then remember, we break up our number by place value. So 628. And then we find the area of each of those rectangles. So this one is a 5 by 600. Okay, and you should get 3,000. This one is a 5 by 20. And that is 100. And this is a 5 by 8, which is 40. So our last step would be to add up our partial products, but it wants us to show with parentheses, multiplication, and addition. So we did 5 times 628, and that is equal to, it's the same thing, and what we did here was we did 5 times 600 plus 20 plus 8. Those are equal. So 5 times 628 is equal to 5 times 600 plus 20 plus 8, because if I combine those numbers, I get 628. Okay, so we just broke them down. Again, nice, easier numbers to work with. Then you distribute your 5. So we did 5 times 600, which we said was 3,000. 5 times 20, which is 100. And 5 times 8, which is 40. So 5 times 628 is equal to 3,140. So go ahead and pause, and I want you to do the same thing we just did for B and C, and then press play and we'll go through them together. Let's continue. So we got B, and we got a 2-digit by 2-digit. So I'm going to break both these numbers up by place value. So I'll do 10 and 2 and 30 and 4 for this one. Okay, find the area of each of these boxes. A 10 by 30, that's 300. A 10 by 4, 40. A 2 by 30, 60. And a 2 by 4, which is 8. So 12 times 34. Okay, really what we did there was we did 10 plus 2 times 30 plus 4. Then we take, and so when we have a double-digit number like that and we are distributing, you're going to take the first number and distribute it to both parts in the other set of parentheses. Please do not do 10 times 2. Okay? The 10 and the 2 are never going to be multiplied together. They are part of the same number. And remember, we were taking 12 times 34. So, we're going to do 10 times 30. And a good habit is to write these out, because then you can see if you missed one or if you multiplied by the wrong number. So here I just kind of wrote the answers down. I shouldn't have done that. I should be writing this stuff down. So I distributed my 10 to my 30. Now I'm going to distribute my 10 to my 4. And you are adding all these answers up. Okay, so I distributed my 10, and you can see that that's the same thing we just did here. We distributed our 10 to our 30 here, and our 10 to our 4 here. So plus, finally, we're going to take our 2 and distribute it to both parts. So 2 times 30 plus 2 times 4. Okay, so now we have what we're multiplying, and again, the 2 times 30 was here, and the 2 times 4 was there. So then we can go ahead and solve. 10 times 30 is 300. 10 times 4 was 40. 2 times 30 is 60, plus 8. And when you add all those numbers up, you get 408. So 12 times 34 equals 408. All right. So I'm going to show you this one without your generic rectangle, because this is how you approach a problem without the generic rectangle, okay? And you're using distributed properties. So this one we'll do 7 times, and we're going to break this number up by place value. So we have 100 plus 30 plus 4. Now we're going to take our 7 and distribute it to all parts on the inside of the parentheses. So 7 times 100. 7 times 30. and 7 times 4. And yes, I do want to see all these steps. I know you're probably rolling your eyes right now at me at your desk, but you'll be okay. All right, so now we have distributed. Now it's time to start solving. So 7 times 100 is 700. 7 times 30 is 210. And 7 times 4 is 28. Remember, those are called our partial products. They are partial because they are part of our answer, and they are products because we multiplied to find them. All right, last step was to just add those up. So 7 times 134, you should have got 938. So distributed property is one of those things that it comes off very confusing. It's kind of a lot to take in. But the good news is it's one of those things that when you got it, you got it. Okay, it's just one of those very overwhelming, it looks like a lot is going on, but when you break it down and really look at it, it should be pretty similar or simple. The most important thing is that whatever's on the outside of your parentheses, you distribute to all the parts. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids do 7 times 100, 7 times 30, plus 4. Well, what happened to the plus 4? Okay, you have to distribute to all the parts. All right, let's look at this bottom one. So it said Richard wanted to multiply 67 times 53 and decided to use a generic rectangle. He drew the diagram shown at right. Hey, Richard said while looking at his generic rectangle, it's kind of like a double distributed property. 50 plus 3 times 60 plus 7. I can use the distributed property twice, once on the top half and once on the bottom half. So real quick, I want you just to take a pause, and I want you to look at the generic rectangle, okay? Where did he see the distributed property? 50 plus 3 times 60 plus 7. How does he see that on the top, and how does he see that on the bottom? He mentioned he's going to be doing the distributed property twice. But where is he seeing that? So go ahead, take a second and see if you can come up with A. How can you see the distributed property in the top and bottom halves of the rectangle? So when we split up this 50 and this 3, okay, that's how we labeled this side length. And when we distribute, remember we're going to take each number and distribute it to both parts in the next set of parentheses. It's what we're doing here. We took the 50 and we're going to multiply it by the 60 and the 7. Then we're going to take the 3 and we're going to multiply it by the 60 and the 7. So how you can see the distributed property on the top, okay, the top is showing 50 times the 60 plus 7. And the bottom is showing the 3 times the 60 plus 7. So it says, apply Richard's idea by setting up two numerical expressions using the distributed property, one for each half of the rectangle. What we just did up top on the A. So for the top piece, we have 50 times 60 plus 7, because that's what it's showing. Okay, so let's distribute 50 times 60 plus 50 times 7. Oops. Notice I distributed to both parts. Then you can solve 50 times 60, 3,000, plus 50 times 7, 350. So 3,350. Then we have the bottom piece. That was our 3 times 60 plus 7. Again, take what's on the outside, distribute it to both parts. So I have 3 times 60. And I wouldn't just make your double little rainbow looking things. right away. Do it as you go so that you can visually see, oh, okay, oh, I haven't distributed the 3 to the 7 yet because I don't have a little line going there. 3 times 7. Okay, go ahead and solve. 3 times 60 is 180 plus 21, and that equals 201. So for the top half, our partial product was 3,350. For the bottom piece, our partial product was 201. Now, we got to add those together to get our answer for the whole entire problem. So when you do, you should get 3,551. So some people might say that this is a longer way. It's really not. It seems longer right now because you are learning it and you're practicing it. So yeah, it's taking more time, but once you get used to this, this is going to be super easy. And I actually like this way of multiplying numbers better. I find that I'm quicker at it, but you know, that's just me. On the back piece, okay, this back side, you guys don't have to do it. If you want to try them, you can try them without a calculator. You know, you can, it says use any method you want, and then you can check your answers if you want. But I'm not going to make you do that. I'm going to give you guys more time to work on your homework. Please note that 2, 3, 4, remember we said was due on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Okay, so make sure you have that. Check with what homework is due tomorrow. And as always, please be good for the sub. I already miss you guys so much. So I love and miss you and cannot wait to see you. All right, be good.